Welcome back. It's Leo here from marketingwithleonard.com and modules. This is the modules for WordPress installation, cPanel version. So I'm excited to finally we get to install WordPress. Um, I haven't closed my screen, so I want you to basically, see where we left off. So I don't want to close my screen, so you know that we've been to the installation of MySQL database. So I'm going back to the main cPanel now, main page of cPanel, and here we're going to install WordPress cPanel version. So there's two versions, there's two ways that I normally, or there's two ways WordPress can be installed. One is WordPress installation cPanel version, and the other one which is the FTP version, the file transfer protocol. So we're going to look at that next module, but on this module we're going to focus on the cPanel version because you will love this version compared to the file transfer protocol version. You'll see why on the next module. So let's begin. So we'll scroll down. So this is the main page. As I said to you guys, time and time again, you look at the menus here. Don't look, pay attention to the menus because it's pretty daunting when you get here. There's so many things to option. So the menus tells you, that's mails. We're looking at SEO marketing. That's the file version or file menu rather. Some logs. So what we are interested is the software and services, and that's where we install WordPress by clicking Quick Install. All right. Now there's a lot of things going on here. Don't pay attention too much on them, except for this blog software. Okay. Later on, I will explain when we get to the module 11, Mastering cPanel. I'm gonna cover all this, some part of this that are relevant to you. But for now, don't just stay with me. Stay with me and focus on the WordPress only. So, click on the WordPress, and that's the WordPress website there. So that's where the original file is. So it's currently on version 3.7. And it's 31 megabytes, 31.04 megabytes. So, all right, let's just hit continue. Okay. So, so what is this screen, Leah? All right. What this screen is basically, we're going to install WordPress, and we need to point it to which domain. Now, remember we registered that domain way back in module 1. Seems a long time ago. Module 1, and we're looking for our domain, which is understanding. Okay, our domain is understanding WordPress training. Now you have to be careful here because if you make mistakes here, if you pick a domain that is already existed, it's already running, and if you happen to pick your domain, one of your high performing website, let's say this is one of my high performing website here, and I simply proceed, fill on the details here and hit install, you're gonna simply wipe out. You're gonna literally wipe out that domain and all its contents and all your SEO and all that stuff plugins. They're basically being obliterated, basically being destroyed. They get obliterated. So you have to be careful when you're picking your domain here. You have to be careful and pick the right domain. If you have one or two domain, that's fine. But when you have about as many as my domain here, uh, you have to be careful. Otherwise, once you make mistake, that's it. Unless you have a backup, it will cost you about $15 to restore it. We're going to talk about backup in module 12, by the way. So that's an exciting module as well to uh, to go through. So stay tuned for that. For now, we're just installing WordPress. So let's go back and find our domain. So I think it's up there. There it is. Understanding. Okay. Now there's no subfolders here. As you can see, there's a slash there and a subfolders. Yeah, if you want to type forum here, for instance, it's going to install WordPress in that particular folder. But we're not going to do that. We're going to install it on this domain. Now the administrator uh, email address is marketing. So I'm going to put my email address there. .com. Now the blog site is understanding training, and I'm going to use a username. So as I said in the beginning, do not use, if you're going to use admin, supplement it with something else, underscore. That's just because if you're putting admin, that's most people know that. Okay. So as I said from the beginning, make it hard for the hackers, okay, to do their job. Make it hard, don't make it easy. So either you use that or use PC user. Okay, so I'm just gonna put my name here. Pretty basic stuff. All right, let's recap. So we are installing WordPress on this domain, and auto upgrades. Make sure you tick that because when this company, WordPress, release their new version, which is 3.8, you get an automatic update. No, not an automatic update. Actually, yes, you do. You get an automatic update. You get notified by HostGator that there's an automatic update, and you don't need to do anything. They'll do it automatically for you. But what I tend to do, I tend to have a control on my website. I don't want anyone installing on my website because if that updates screwed up, you know, it will screw up my website. So you don't want that. You need to have control. So later on when we log on to WordPress, when you log on to the dashboard, you will see a message there, there's a new version of WordPress. Would you like to install it? That gives you an idea. Okay, there's a new version. Okay, should I back up first or should I install it now? What I tend to do is I normally do a backup, a quick backup, mainly my themes and my plugins. Okay, and the rest that's okay. So I tend to normally back those up, then install WordPress or install the updates rather in case something happens. I have my backup. So if you do an automatic updates, you're basically letting HostGator to install the updates into your website. So my advice from from my experience, I tend to untick it. So I'm gonna untick it, and that's the email address there. That's the blog name. I have my username and the name and the last name. And let's go. Let's install WordPress. Okay, we're getting an invalid email address. It is an invalid email address indeed. My apology. That's not an email address, that was a domain. Let's try again. Okay, so the file size is 31.09 megabytes. It's just querying the domain, and there it goes, 100%. Now, before you move on, there's a very important information here that I want you to pay attention to. As you can see here, it says, congratulations, your installation is ready. You can access it now by going here. Okay, don't do that. What you need to do is you need to get hold of this information here. Okay, before you go anywhere, I want you to copy that information because that is the information that you need to log into your website or to your WordPress dashboard. Okay, so what we're going to do here is highlight those, copy, and go to our little notepad again. As you can see, this notepad is very handy. Right click, paste. Now before we go any further, we're going to save this on our desktop. Now here's the trick. Every time you download something, every time you save something, okay, if you're in the middle of something, always save them on your desktop. Later on, you can clear them. Why is the desktop? Because they're easy to find. You know, they're easy to find, they're easy to locate. So our example here, we're going to save it on our desktop. So what we're going to do is just going to name it as credentials. Okay. Now, so we've got our username and password, and we have the dashboard or admin area. So now we can just simply go in here and copy this. And all right, so I'm kind of doing all my shortcuts, which you don't see. So I'll right-click, copy this. I'm gonna highlight that stuff and right-click again and paste. Okay, and hit enter. Now, boom! You'll see this. I said, what on earth is this? You know, I tell you, sir, Leo, we installed WordPress. Yes, we did. But what is this? All that stuff. You can see all the parent directory, about, admin, you know, so on and so forth. What is this stuff? Well, the thing with WordPress is there's a file there, there's a specific file that gets called up when you log onto your WordPress dashboard. And there's a line there that you need to add. You need to add a line into, we need to find this file. We need to find that. That's the htaccess file. And there's a line there that we need to add in order for us to get in to WordPress cPanel or the admin page. Now, when I started installing WordPress, you know, WordPress early this year, that's when I began learning WordPress early this year. I bought a training, and the training was about 6 hours long. So I've gone through all the training, 6 hours, took it one weekend, did it, and next day, you know, I built about 5 or 10 websites from there. Because I've done a lot of training in my career, and for me, training it's just like a natural progression to me. So when I watch someone, you know, showing me how you do it on the screen, it's a lot easier for me to follow because I've done it so many times. So I've gone, you know, I bought this training and gone through it one weekend, then the next day I built, you know, so many websites. And the first time I built a website, I come across this problem. You will come across this problem over and over again, you know, because there's a file, as I mentioned, this file that we need to find and add this line. Okay, now this index here is a case sensitive. Okay, don't put capital. If you put capital here, it's not gonna work. I'll explain it to you in a moment. So that's a very case sensitive. It's a very case sensitive. So just lowercase, not uppercase, index. Okay, starting with I. So where do we find this file here? Okay. Let's go back into cPanel. So we've done our part. We've installed WordPress into that particular domain. Let's go back into the main page. So back to cPanel. And what we need to go, where we need to go is we need to go into Files menu. So File Manager. And in the File Manager, we need to pick. We need to select our domain. And that's our domain there. And hit go. Okay. Now, we need to scroll down and go into the public underscore HTML. And now we need to go into our domain. So remember way back in, I can't remember if it is in module 3. We went into this folder and it's practically nothing. It's practically empty. Well, look at it now. Look at it now. You know, it's got so many files there. You don't even know which one is which. Okay. Well, you don't need to understand that. What we're looking for is we're looking for this file htAccess.php. So I can see it from here. All right. So that's the file that we are interested in. And actually, it's not PHP, it's just dot. So that's my mistake here. That's just dot htAccess. So what we need to do with this file is we need to edit this. And that's fine. We just click edit. Okay. And in this file, we need to add this directory index. So right click, directory index, space index PHP. And we need to go all the way up there, right click and paste, and we need to save it, save changes. Okay. So you can close that. We've done that part. So we're going to stay on that screen. Now we're going to refresh this. And we got an internal server error. Let's refresh it again. Okay. Alright, I did pause the video just to try to sort that problem, and what I found was just a typing error. Well, not a typing error, it's a missing character. So remember we type in director index space index.php. Actually, it's directory index. It's looking for this index PHP. So I have to go back into the .htaccess file and edit that, and then just simply add y there. You know, it's actually directory index. I just add that in, save it. Well, I haven't made anything. I haven't made any alteration yet, so that's why it's saying. So I'm gonna close this. That's why it's saying, you know, there's no changes were made. So, and now we'll try again. So we're gonna close this, and we're gonna try logging into the admin page again. And this time, it's logging us in. WordPress. So that's a familiar screen. And now we're going to use our password. So user, busy user. I'm gonna go copy and paste. I'm not gonna remember my password for security reason. And there you go. That's our WordPress there. So just to recap, from this main cPanel, went all the way down to software and services and quick install. In quick install, we went into WordPress, and then we hit continue. And here we simply pick our domain. We selected our domain, which is Understanding WordPress Training, and then we fill in the relevant details. Okay, and then we simply hit install. Now we run into a problem when we try to log into WordPress admin site. You see those parent directory. Remember those bunch of files or parent directory files are showing up because there's a files that we need to update, which is the .htaccess file, and we need to add a line on the top of that directory index space indexed.php. So just remember that when you get into that screen, always remember, oh, I remember that from Leo's training. I need to access, I need to go into the cPanel file manager. So let's go back into the cPanel. Just to recap and go into the file manager. Because this is very crucial. It's very important for you to understand this. Because if this doesn't work, you can't get into WordPress at all. So you pick your domain and you find that file, and then you edit it. Apologize for the noise. You edit it, and you go edit, and then you simply add this line. Copy that, and then you simply paste it in there. Okay. Don't add the capitals there because this is a very case sensitive. If you put a capital there, it's not gonna work. You will get an error message. Okay. So click save. And that's it, folks. We install WordPress. So from the next module, we're going to install WordPress using File Transfer Protocol, the FTP client. So that's a very, very exciting, exciting modules too, because it's a different ways to install WordPress by downloading it first and then you set up your FTP client. So we're going to discuss that on the next module. For now, I hope you enjoy and learn something today about how you install WordPress and the things that you have to look for. Um, I wish when I started, someone guide me and tell me that that's the sort of files you have to do. You have to go through this, and because it took me a while. It took me about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to figure out, what's wrong with that. And finally, I figured it out and remember it forever. And I'm passing it over to you so you remember it forever. If you're starting out or if you're unfamiliar with WordPress, or even you've done WordPress installation in the past and you need to refresh your mind, that's something that you need to, jot it down and remember it and memorize it. I hope you memorize it because it's so crucial. And and then I hope you learned something today with this training. And I'll see you on the next training using a WordPress or installing WordPress using File Transfer Protocol. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next training module.